Hello everyone, Lytro Storm here, and today we are finally moving on with What If Tarble Was Sent to Earth, Part 2. Now you guys know I wouldn't be able to do this alone, so joining me today is once again my friend Spectrus.
Hello everybody, Spectrus here. It's been a while since we last covered this one, so we need to get moving right into it. No time for a recap for this What If, so be sure to go check out Part 1 if you haven't already.
I want to point out that some of the power scaling has changed a bit, but power levels will be listed on screen when they are needed. And one last thing, all the art shown in this video is made by Cobb's Draws, so please make sure you go subscribe to him, as he's really good at what he does. And he's been super nice and just doing all this work for me. Now, before we begin, as always, be sure to join my Discord and follow me on Twitter, links in the description, as well as the link to his channel.
So, to continue where we last left off, the 5-year time skip to the Raditz saga happens, with Tarble going to a Capsule Corp with Bulma and Ranfan. Over this time, he has a kid with Ranfan, and wants to take it easy with the training. And the kid's name would be Stockton, which is a pun on both Bulma's family names and Ranfan's own name. Bulma's family typically refers to their names in underwear fashion, and Ranfan's literally means lingerie, so Stockings is going to be a perfect fit. However, Tarble doesn't want to be helpless like he was back when Tambourine killed him, so in his spare time he begins working on a gravity chamber. He was also influenced by knowing that his father was a king, as Baba had told him before. During this time, Goku and Tarble's family stay somewhat connected media maybe once a year or so, just to have their kids play around and get to know each other. Which means Gohan and Stockings quickly would become friends over this time. Yamcha having moved into Capsule Corp with Bulma, although the relationship is pretty rocky, he's begun sparring with Tarble from time to time, and Tarble really wanted him to start succeeding with his sister more, as they had become pretty good friends over these years. He had helped him set up dates and such, but it still came out a little quirky. But that being said, Bulma and Yamcha are dating, although as I said, it is rocky. The last thing I want to cover is that Krillin, seeing that he is kind of alone, decides to train over the 5-year time skip, making him far stronger than in canon.
So the reunion on Kame House here has Goku, Gohan, Krillin, Roshi, and Bulma like in canon. But here, Tarble, Ranfan, Stockings, and Chi-Chi are also present. Chi-Chi and Ranfan are here because they want to talk to each other, as they've become closer over the 5-year gap, as well as Chi-Chi and Bulma. So Raditz arrives just like in canon and knows that there are 2 Saiyans, not just his brother. He quickly dispatches of both of them and takes their children, flying away quickly. When Piccolo arrives, he's much more keen on helping them, as in the 23rd Budokai, Goku protected Piccolo from being killed by the Amp's cyborg Tao. And so, the 3 of them head off quickly, Goku on the Nimbus and the others flying alongside him. When they arrive, Raditz is just asking Vegeta and Nappa through his scouter if they knew about any other Saiyans that could have survived. They instantly dismiss it, saying that they had no knowledge about another. And so, Goku and Piccolo took off their weights and prepared to fight along with Tarble, who was the weakest of them. All 3 rushed Raditz, but it didn't do anything substantial. They quickly realized that they were losing, and Piccolo brings up the special beam cannon. The 2 Saiyans hold Raditz off while Piccolo charges, and the first time misses, only grazing his shoulder. Tarble and Goku were both beaten down easily, and eventually Gohan and Stockings bursted from the pods with insanely high power levels. I would say that due to Gohan and Stockings playing, their base power levels are a bit higher, at 2 for Gohan and 4 for Stockings. Their power level skyrocketed, Gohan's much more than Stockings, but hers still rises to a 400. With this, Raditz is wounded even more than in canon, and Piccolo manages to finish him off with the special beam cannon while Goku holds him, resulting in both of their deaths, once again like in canon. Tarble mourns over Goku, as everyone else arrives, and Piccolo brings up the Dragon Balls. Tarble yells that he's right, and Vegeta and Nappa hear everything through Raditz's scouter. Tarble takes it and puts it on.
I don't know who you are, but don't you dare set foot on this planet!
Oh really? Who are you to order the Saiyan Prince around?
Ha! I could care less if you're royal. If you come anywhere close to my home, I'll defeat you myself!
Tarble said before removing the scouter and getting back on the ship to Kame House.
After all that, Kame calls for everyone to train with him in preparation for the Saiyans. Tarble convinces Chi-Chi and Ranpan to let Gohan and Stockings train with them as long as he and Popo also focus on their studies. Piccolo joins in on the training a couple months in as well. This doesn't make him a good guy, he just sees it as the best way for them to all get as strong as possible. Meanwhile, Goku is running Snake Way, and since his power level is about 5% higher, he's going to make it to King Kai's planet 5% faster, which means another bonus 5% stacked on top of his already increase. He will be getting a 21 times increase this time. After all that, the Z Fighters finish their training and then they return home. Stockings relaxes with her aunt and mother while Gohan is immediately thrown back into his studies by his mother. While all of them were training, Bulma had actually found Tarble's blueprints for the gravity machine and finished it up for him, allowing he and Yamcha to use it. They do so and their power levels quickly rise up higher than they were. Along with this, Krillin returns to Kame House and decides to finish learning a new technique from Roshi. During this time, Piccolo, Tenshinhan, and Chaozu also just go back to their regular training. After all this, we have some really high power levels for everyone. I'll let Lytro handle that.
So the method I used was just taking everyone's original Kami training boost and dividing it by their training partners, which was 4, since them on their own doesn't count, and they had Krillin, Yamcha, Tenshinhan, Chaozu, and Yajirobe. I then took the number left and multiplied it by their new training partner count of 6, since Piccolo and Tarble were added in. And so I multiplied that by our current power level for them. Now with Piccolo and Tarble, it was a bit more difficult since they hadn't trained with Kami, so I just took the average boost for everyone and applied that to Tarble, and I took Piccolo's original boost from training alone and Gohan in canon and amped it up by 50%. With Stockings and Gohan, I just brought them up to a 1,500 each since they're only training with Tarble and Popo. Lastly, for the gravity training boost, I gave Yamcha a 40% increase and Tarble a 66% increase since he was weaker. Now, all the power levels will be on screen for you to see, and back to you, Spectrus.
So, now we're heading into the Battle of the Saiyans, and this is when a huge realization is made. When the Prince and Nappa arrive, Vegeta introduces them, and his name reminds Tarble what Baba had told him back at the tournament.
Vegeta, huh? Apparently my father had that same name.
Vegeta was extremely confused by this, as his father had told him and the entire kingdom that their second child was a miscarriage. Why would he tell them that if it wasn't? There's no way this kid is his brother.
The Prince tries to keep his composure by just telling Nappa to plant the Cybermen and get it over with, as they could sense on their scouters that they were weak. However, this ended up being the wrong move, with the Z Fighters being able to easily destroy them. While they were fighting, Nappa asked Vegeta if Tarble was telling the truth about his father, and Vegeta scoffs, saying that it doesn't matter. Nappa then began to step in himself, and Tarble opted to handle him. Now, he is kind of conflicted hearing that Tarble was King Vegeta's son, and so when he begins the fight, he isn't too sure about fighting royalty. He still attempts to, and Tarble is only dodging and blocking, wearing Nappa down. He can sense that he isn't even trying to kill him, and so there's no need for him to use extreme force, as he's strong enough to avoid his attacks. Tarble tries to talk Nappa out of fighting them, and he's clearly a better person than his brother. Him being the prince as well is making his case a lot stronger. But Nappa is still trying to attack as best as he can. It's not working though, and Tarble ends up making him lose a lot of energy. In the end, the two stand face to face, Nappa panting. Vegeta tells Tarble to hurry up and just kill Nappa, as he's useless to him if he's gonna be this weak. Nappa is frozen now, and Tarble enters his mind, telling him that he doesn't have to continue working for such a cruel person like Vegeta. Nappa charges up a blast with his hand and looks up at Tarble, but then he quickly turns and fires it at Vegeta. Prince manages to jump out of the way, saying that he saw that coming, firing a blast of his own to kill his former lackey.
To save him from this, Tarble tackles Nappa into the ground, taking a little bit of the blast himself. The prince then threatens Tarble, calling him trash for risking his life for another weaker than him. But Tarble doesn't take this kindly.
If you're so strong, why don't you fight yourself?
Vegeta then smirks. With pleasure. The brothers clash. Well, not really, because Vegeta is easily overpowering his younger brother. Tarble is just getting beaten rather quickly, and so Yamcha jumps in to help. The two start doing a lot better, but Vegeta is still winning by separating them, and he's still just stronger. With this, Krillin also decides to aid them, yelling for everyone to do a Kamehameha. And so they all hop around the battlefield, charging, When fully charged, they all land together, with Krillin in the middle. That's when he reveals the technique he had been learning, and buffs up, ripping his shirt off. He then yells, "Now!" and they all fire at Vegeta. This attack blows him back, and the gang actually think they've won for a bit, before realizing that his energy is starting to come back. The attack had done great damage, but Vegeta is now going to go for the kill. Everyone quickly begins joining in on the fight, with Krillin even using the buff form here and there to carry out a combo. But it's clear that none of them can defeat Vegeta. This results in Chaozu's self-destruction and Tenshinhan's tri-beam resulting in his death, just like in canon. The prince laughs and begins trying to bait one of the Z-Fighters into an easy kill by aiming at Gohan, knowing that one of them will end up defending the kid. Surely enough, it's Piccolo who ends up defending him. The two had shared a similar bond as in canon over their training, although it wasn't nearly as strong as their true bond. He still decides to do it anyway though, resulting in his own death and signifying his change of heart. With this, Gohan lashes out at Vegeta, firing a ki blast that doesn't deal any damage at all to him. He quickly retaliates, sending another blast flying at him, but he is saved by the Nimbus.
Goku has finally arrived on the battlefield. Vegeta senses his power level to be over 9,000 in this timeline. Goku splits the Senzu Bean amongst the two most injured people and tells them to head out, while he and Vegeta take the fight elsewhere. This Goku is able to beat Vegeta with less strain, since base Kaioken would be above Vegeta's 18,000, so he doesn't have to resort to ×3 nearly as much. Another change would be that the clash from the Gallic Gun Kamehameha struggle would injure Vegeta more since Goku is stronger. After dropping the kids off at Kame House, Tarble, Krillin, Yamcha, and Nappa return to Goku's side. But Vegeta creates a power ball and becomes an Uzaru. This transforms not only him, but Nappa as well. And the two begin a huge battle. Although the prince is easily winning, Goku reveals that he has one last ace in the hole. But it's going to take a while to charge up, before raising his hands into the air. As Nappa is beaten, Stockings and Gohan make their way toward the battlefield once again, not wanting to leave their friends and family to fight alone. However, this also leads to their own transformations into the Uzaru form. Gohan can't control his form, while Stockings has some level of control, due to her being part of the royal bloodline. Tarble speaks to her through her mind and makes sure she's all there, and with this, she attacks Gohan and forces him down. Then she actually speaks in her Uzaru form, very much like Vegeta, and she tries to get Gohan to listen. This attempt works, and the two, now combined with Nappa, team up to attack the prince. There is a brutal beatdown, as none of them even combined can nearly deal damage to Vegeta, who ends up breaking Nappa's leg very much like Tenshinhan did to Yamcha. Eventually, Yajirobe arrives and Krillin comes up with a plan.
He shows off his other new move, the Destructo Disc, and tosses it at Vegeta, but he jumps over it. Krillin then smirks, and Yajirobe comes from behind, slicing off the Uzaru's tail. Tarble and Yamcha then team up to blast the fake moon, turning the kids and Nappa back to normal. Now, Tarble, Yamcha, and Krillin are able to hold off Vegeta, and are even winning. Vegeta notices this and quickly separates them, but overall they were able to buy enough time for Goku to complete the Spirit Bomb and throw it at the prince. The initial throw misses, but Tarble is able to hit it back at his brother, putting him in a near-death state. He is beaten and retreats to his pod, glaring at Nappa before turning his gaze to Tarble.
I suppose I am the only real Saiyan left,
he says, before the pod closes and shoots off into space. And that is where we shall leave Part 2. The gang needs to go to Namek to resurrect everyone, so Part 3 will cover everything that happens there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the second part, and the third one will come sooner if the video can hit 400 likes. And the voice acting for Tarble was done by Stevdez, who does What Ifs on his channel, so make sure you all go check him out. But as always, like the video if you enjoyed, tell me what you think will happen next, comment your requests for future videos, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, have a great day.